Yes, good morning once again. My name is
Good
Olabisi
morning.
Roland from Post Service Department, and I welcome all our esteemed retirees and also um, members of Alausa that are on the call, and my co-workers, those still officers still serving, and it's a great pleasure to connect with every one of you once again today. Um, on behalf of the head of service, Mr. Bode Agoro, and our permanent secretary, Public Service Office, Mrs. Sukomi Oyewala, and the director of the service department, she is not around today, Mrs. Durodola. I extend my greetings and appreciation for your continuous commitment to joining us every 2 weeks that we have this session. Today's topic, which is healthy eating on a budget, tips for affordable and nutritious meal planning. It's been a while. We've been trying to get a nutritionist, and fortunately, we have one with us. And at a time now where, food is quite expensive, and it's been quite challenging getting healthy foods with the high cost of living and things like that. So the ability to plan meals, which should be cost effective because of the high cost. We've brought a nutritionist who would take us through who would give us the right information and help us make healthier choices, without breaking the bank. Yes. So we're honored to have a nutritionist with us. Her name is Mrs. Edu Olushola Deborah, and she works with Lagos State Ministry of Health. She is an experienced and passionate nutritionist who is enthusiastic about guiding individuals to achieving optimal health through nutritional intervention. She specializes in weight management and mindful eating. She's also a very dedicated nutritionist who loves to empower her clients to make informed food choices for a healthy and happy life. Mrs. Edu is happily married with children. Yes, Mrs. Edu, welcome to our session. We appreciate your
Good
presence. Good
morning.
morning, ma.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Yes,
I hope
good
you can hear me
morning.
clearly. Good
Yes,
morning,
we can
ma'am.
hear you. Good morning. Welcome.
All right,
Yes,
ma'am.
so the
Thank
floor
you.
is yours. You can start, please.
Okay. Good morning,
Thank you.
everyone. It's good to be here this morning. I feel honored to come share with us one or two things that can help us to make healthy food choices. I want to say a warm welcome for joining in. Thank you so much. I hope at the end of today, at the end of this session, we have gotten one or two things that will go a long way to help us achieve our health goals. So I hope you can all hear me. So like
Hello,
she
madam.
said,
We
my
can't
name
hear
is
you
Mrs. Edu.
anymore.
You can't hear me anymore. Hello?
Yeah. Could you please take that again? We lost you for a while.
All right. I want to say a warm welcome to everybody. I feel great. I feel honored to be here to share one or two things that will be helpful to us, especially in making healthy food choices. I hope by the time we are done, we would have gotten one or two things to help us live a healthy life. It's a great honor to be here. I want to say a warm welcome to everybody. Like she rightly informed you earlier on, my name is Mrs. Sedu. I'm a nutritionist and I work with the Lagos State government. So I'll be sharing with us. I hope you can hear.
Yes, we can all hear
Hello?
you. Please go on.
Okay. So I will be
Yes.
sharing with us things that we can do, tips on healthy budget, tips that we can do to afford nutritional meals rather. With the situation of everything going on around us, we know things are on the high side, prices of foodstuff as skyrocketed and all of that. So we need to do some of these things to help us to an extent to have healthy meals. So permit me to share with you these few tips, and I hope that when we do all of these things, it will go a long way to help us achieve our health goals. So please give me a few minutes to. Okay. Please, can I be made the host so that I can be able to share my screen? Hello, ma. Mrs. Durodola. Please give me a few minutes.
Hello, what
can
did you
I
say,
be made the host so that I can share, because I'm having issues sharing from here? Hello, can you hear me? Can I be made the host so that I can be able to share
I can hear you.
My slides?
Please hold on for a little while.
Yes. All right. All right, ma'am. So let's start by. So pending while we wait for the slides to come on, let's just give a brief introduction what nutrition is all about. Nutrition simply has to do with the process by which our body utilizes nutrients from food. We all know we eat daily. So this food, there are some things it does in the body, aside your helping you to grow healthy and all of that, we get nutrients from it. And those nutrients are actually important for the body. So what it does is that these nutrients help us to live a healthy life. It helps us to maintain our health. Because one thing with aging is when we start to age, there are so many issues that come with aging. People are vulnerable to health issues and all of those things. So this is the reason nutrition is very, very key and important for us. I don't know if the slides can come on now. Can I share it now? I'm still having issues sharing the slides, but so for the elderly, why we need nutrition is. Okay, let me just go on, pending when the slides come on. Okay, for the elderly, actually, why we need proper nutrition is just for maintenance, basically maintenance, for strength, for mobility, because when you age with time, the body is not as it used to be again. You can understand what I mean, that the body probably, due to so many things, age-related, it could even be nutrition-related illnesses. So the body is not as strong and as agile as it used to be before. So we need to take care of what we eat. We need to be intentional. We need to be intentional about the kind of food we eat. So some of the challenges that, I hope you can hear me, some of the challenges that people face, especially elderly people, in terms of having a good nutrition, especially on a small budget. Some of the challenges are, it could be due to lack of, should I say, low income, financial issues. It could be due to poverty. It could be due to low income and all of that. So those are some of the challenges. It could even be inability to chew properly, as little as that. People cannot chew properly because they're having dental issues. So many challenges. But I just want to limit it to just 3. Financial issues due to low income. Another one is probably due to unavailable variety of food. Another one is lack of awareness, because most people don't actually know the kind of food they need to eat. So they lack the awareness on their dietary needs. So the goal of this presentation is to be able to offer practical, budget-friendly meals for people, so that as little as your budget is, you can still have your healthy meals. So let's go on. So locally, some of the foods that we have here in our vicinity, budget-friendly Nigerian meals. I hope you can still hear me. And I hope I'm not too fast. I hope people can still hear and I'm not too fast. So some of the budget-friendly Nigerian foods that we have around, we all know carbohydrates. Because when we talk of nutrients, we talk of carbohydrates, proteins, healthy fats, minerals, vitamins, even water is part of the nutrients we need to get from our food. So when we talk about carbohydrates, I'm talking about our normal yam, sweet potatoes, rice, gari, maize, millet. So those are classified under carbohydrates. And then when we talk about other nutrients that we need as elderly people, we need protein, especially protein, because we need it to maintain, as we get older, the body tissues, the muscles, they are not as healthy as it used to be before. So the muscles begin to wear out. So you actually need protein to repair all of those muscles. So some of the
Hello,
sources
ma.
are
Hello.
beans, eggs, fish, granules, and the likes.
Hello,
One of
ma.
the other hello, ma.
Mrs.
Yes, ma.
Yeah. The
Okay, the
slides
slides are
are
on now.
now on.
Hello, I
Can you
can hear
see
you,
it?
ma.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I can see it, ma.
The
I can
slides
see
are
it.
on.
All right.
Okay. All right.
I can see it.
So I'll just
All
share it
right.
from
I'm
my
already
end.
on the second. Okay, I'm already on the second slide. I'm talking about the budget-friendly Nigerian foods that we have. Can you help me project that? At least that will make it
It's
much
shown.
more faster. Yes.
Can you see
So
it?
I was talking on proteins. I just gave examples of proteinous food that we have around. Another one is vegetables. You'll be wondering vegetables. Yes, fruits and vegetables. What you basically get from your fruits and vegetables are vitamins and minerals, which are very essential, especially in terms of immunity and fighting infections and the like. So we all know our normal regular vegetables around. Ugu, that's fluted pumpkin leaves. We have tete, okra, water leaves, and the rest. So let me not waste so much on that, because we all generally know our fruits and vegetables that we have around. So another nutrient that we need as individuals is healthy fats. Those ones can be gotten from your palm oil, your avocado, groundnut oil, coconut oil. These are budget-friendly food sources that you can get all of these proteins, all of these nutrients from. Because when you begin to think of processed food, you realize that those ones are much more expensive and not as important or not as nutritious as these ones that I've just given us. So let's move on to the next slide. I'm trying to, so that we can be able to cover all of those things. So I've talked about the nutrients that we need. I'll still come back to that in case we might have questions coming on from that angle. So we'll still come back to that as we go on. Let's just move on so that we don't stay too long on that. So I'm going into the tips that you can do. On now. I hope you can hear me.
No, you went off for a while.
Hello, ma.
You
Hello,
went off
everyone. I hope
for
you
a
can all hear
while.
me. Yes, I am back
You
on
went
now. I hope
off.
you can all.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
I did.
Yes,
Yes,
I
I
can
did.
hear you
I hope you
now.
can all hear me. Yes, so I'm going into the
We can
tips
hear you.
proper now. So one of the things you can do is to buy local and seasonal foods. When I mean local and seasonal food, it simply means food that we have around here, foods that are grown around there. That's legumes, grains, generally foodstuffs around us. So the benefits of you buying locally and buying seasonal food is just affordability, for freshness, and for you to get nutrient-rich options. Let me just explain what I mean by that. What I simply mean is that when you buy from local markets around you and you buy seasonal food, it ensures that you get foods that are fresh. I mean, foods that are fresh all season, all year round. You can actually get fresh produce, fresh fruits, fresh
Yeah,
vegetables.
she
And
seems
when
to
I mean
have
local,
issues with
I'm talking
her
about markets around you,
network.
especially our food markets. Around here, I don't know if people are here listening in from other states.
Hello, Mrs. Edu, are you?
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about the network issues. I hope you can all hear me. Hello, ma, I hope you can all hear me. I hope
Okay.
everyone can hear me.
like, hello, madam, are you back on?
Yes, I'm back on with you.
Yes,
hello,
we
I'm
can
back
hear
on. Can
her.
we all hear
We can
me?
hear her. We can hear you. Let her continue.
Okay. So I was talking about you
Oh, okay. I
getting
can't hear her from our own end, but if you can hear her, no problem.
Yes, we can hear her very clearly.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right.
All right, ma'am. Thank
So
you.
I'm so sorry about the network issues. I'm sorry about that. But I hope we'll be able to achieve one or two before we go. So I was talking earlier about why we need to do local and seasonal food. I talked about affordability, I talked about freshness, and I talked about nutrient-rich options. What it simply means that when you buy locally, you get produce that are fresh, they are nutrient-rich, and they are most of the time, they are affordable. I mean, they are cheaper. I don't know if people are listening from other states, but here in our locality, Lagos State, we have food markets around you. Mile 12 is a big food market where you can get cheap produce. Even the Lagos State government has food hubs around where you can get, I think there's one in Mushin. So those kind of places, when you go to those places, market hubs, food commodity, big market locally, you can get food that are cheap, that are affordable, nutritious, and you can get them all year round because our fruits are seasonal. Fruits are seasonal, different fruits for each season. So when you buy locally, it helps you to ensure that you get all nutrients. You don't lack nutrients all year round. So let's quickly move on so that we don't waste too much time on that. For protein sources, earlier on, I mentioned the nutrients that we can get, and I mentioned protein. We need to eat proteinous food. I mentioned earlier, it is very important for building and repair of muscles. As we age, I told you earlier on that our muscles begin to wear out. So when we eat proteinous food, it helps us to repair those worn out muscles. So one of the food sources for protein are your meat, fish, animal products or plant products. But I would say that if you cannot really afford the animal sources, you can focus on the plant sources. Those are your legumes like your beans, soya beans. Those ones can also give you protein as well. So even for elderly people, I would say do more of plants, because when you begin to do animal sources, we're talking about red meat, essentially fish. But for red meat, it's not as if it's not healthy, but it's not good for people who are elderly. Instead, opt for fish, opt for egg, and opt for the plant-based one like your beans, soya beans. Those ones you can get your proteins from it. So I would like to move on to the next slide, because I know I'm working with time so that we can cover up all we have to cover up. Another thing that we need to eat from is our carbohydrates. And those sources are grains. When I say grains, I'm talking about your rice, your maize, your millet, oats. Those ones are what we call whole grains. What it actually does is that it gives us energy, because we actually need energy to perform our day-to-day activities. We need energy to run. Even though most of our food here is carbohydrates, but we have to have them in moderation. Moderation is key. It shouldn't be too much, even though we need it in our body, but we should ensure that they are not much. I will still tell us what we can do to achieve healthy meals using our grains, our carbohydrate. So let's move on. So we go to fruits and vegetables. One of the things that we can get from local and seasonal fruits and vegetables is variety. I mentioned it earlier. So that way it ensures that you don't lack any of those vitamins, you don't lack those fruits. When you buy from the local market, you have variety, because I mentioned that each seasons come with their own fruits. It comes with different fruits. So ensure you buy from the local market. That way, I'm talking about your oranges, banana, okra, and the rest. So when you buy from the local market, it ensures that you have variety all year round. So that way you can be able to live healthy, because we actually need those fruits for nutrients. They are important for nutrients. They are important for fiber. It helps us with our gut health. Help us with passing out stools and everything. It helps us to fight infections. That's the reason you need your vitamins and your minerals, and those ones can be gotten from your fruits and vegetables. So let's move on to healthy fat, because I mentioned the nutrients earlier. I mentioned fat. One of the benefits of fat is that aside it giving you satiety, because it depends on the kind of fat you have. Aside satiety, one of the things it does is it helps us to improve brain function. Some of the sources are your granules, cashew nuts, almonds, walnuts. You know what walnuts is? I hope you can follow me. I hope you are hearing me clearly, and we are, following up on the things that I'm talking about. We can easily relate with some of my examples. Hello, Ma.
Yes,
hello,
we
everyone.
can
I
hear
hope you
you.
can
We
hear.
can hear
Yes, we
you.
can hear you.
We are following.
Okay, so
Please
those
go
are some of
on.
the things that we can eat to get our healthy fats from. So let's quickly move on to dairy and alternatives rather. The importance of dairy products in our health is just for bone and muscle, especially when it has to do with calcium. I mentioned age, and I mentioned wearing out of the tissue of the muscle. So we actually need dairy products for us to be able to keep maintaining those muscles, for us to be able to move around, mobility and all of that, for us to be agile. So some of the options are your yogurts. I mentioned animal and plant sources for protein. Likewise, for dairy products too, we have animal sources and we have plant sources. Your animal sources are products from milk from the cow, like your yogurt. The other one is plant-based milk, like almond nut milk, like your cashew nut milk, your coconut milk. Those ones are alternatives. They are from plants. So when you take all of those things, it helps us to get nutrition and nutrients from it. And I mentioned earlier calcium, which is very, very important for your bone and all. Aside the vitamins and minerals helping us to fight infections, those are the other things that it does in the body. So let's quickly move on to the meal planning tips. This is exactly where we are going to. For us to have healthy meals, we need to do some three things. I would say plan, I would say purchase, and I would say prepare. For you to plan, you need to make weekly meals. It might seem hard at first, but when you look at it, some of us grew up with seeing our parents, seeing people around us doing meal timetables, and we already are familiar with how it looks like. So what it entails is just you having a plan of what you want to eat per day: morning, breakfast, lunch, and breakfast, and then breakfast, lunch, and supper, and then you have snacks in between or maybe later in the evening. So it's just you planning it, what it looks like, so that what planning of meal does actually, what it does is it helps you to purchase your food, purchase the food that you need, so that you don't buy on impulse. Because if you don't have a meal plan, if you don't plan, when you get to the market to purchase all of those food stuff, you just realize that you keep buying things that are not necessary. You end up buying things that you even have at home. But when you go to the market with your list at hand and you have a meal plan, it helps you to plan on what ingredients to buy. And it helps you to plan on the kind of food to make, so that you don't just eat anything as it comes. You don't just eat food as it comes. You have daily, you have plans on what to eat, how to prepare them, and all of that. So I talked about the tips. So weekly meal planning, shopping list, you need to do all of those things. You need to cook in bulk, and you need to reduce waste. I think I've been able to explain what the meal plan is all about. I've been able to explain how you can do that. I also talk about the shopping list. When you have a shopping list, it then helps you to buy what you need, so that you don't buy on impulse. You don't buy things that you just keep buying things, and at the end of the day, you realize that it's not what you actually need. So I'll go on to cooking in bulk. When you cook in bulk, what it does is that even when you feel tired or too lazy to cook, as far as you have food that you have cooked in bulk and you have stored properly, you still get food to eat. Because sometimes when we go out our daily business, we come back, you might feel tired to even cook. But when you have food that you have stored properly in your fridge, your freezers, you can bring it out. And then it will ensure you have food every time. So you don't go hungry and you don't go eating things that you're not meant to eat. So Another thing about meal planning tips or meal planning is reducing waste. It helps us to reduce waste. When I say reducing waste, what that this simply means is that it helps you to be creative with your leftovers. For example, yesterday night you had rice and stew, and you still have it stored properly somewhere. You can still make use of it. That rice and stew, you can bring it out and be creative with it and decide to make jollof rice without your rice and stew, so that you don't think that, oh, I ate rice and stew the other time, I don't want to eat rice and stew again. But when you have such leftover, you can just decide to use the stew and the rice to make jollof rice. And then you can even add beans. Probably you have leftover beans somewhere, eating carbohydrates, you are eating protein as well. And you can go on as well to add your vegetables. That way, to an extent, you are having a balanced diet. What nutrition actually means is just eating properly, the right portion, having a balanced diet, make your meals very nutritious. That's what it actually entails. So I don't know. I think I've been deeper into it as well. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, the next one is shopping strategies. I mentioned meal planning. I mentioned shopping lists. I mentioned bulk cooking and not wasting food. But really, how do you now shop for those local things that I mentioned earlier? Some of the strategies that you can do for you to get, cheaper produce. I mentioned markets where we can go to get all of those things. But what can you do to make sure that, okay, you're getting these things, actually, you're getting them cheap and they're the healthy ones, they are nutritious. So you can compare prices. Compare prices. Don't just buy in a particular place. Make sure you are comparing prices. I mentioned food up earlier on. Lagos State government has food up. I know there's one. I'm very sure of the one in Mushi, where they have even discounts. They come up with discounts almost every time. So you get a 5% discount. So that way you can buy cheaper produce and they are actually fresh. As far as it's coming from the Lagos State government, I can guarantee freshness. I can guarantee you that they're actually healthy as well. So you can buy from, I mentioned the local markets, I mentioned buying seasonal fruit. And I want to say that one of the strategies that you can do is to avoid processed food as much as possible. When I say processed food, I'm talking about canned products, candies. I don't want to mention brands because we are not here to do promotion for any products. So I wouldn't mention brands, but I know we all understand processed food, canned this, canned that, canned meat products, canned fish products, canned vegetables. They're actually expensive and they are not as healthy as your whole food. They are not healthy. When I say they are not healthy, I mean they are not healthy because they contain more of added sugar. They contain more of added salt. Aside the chemicals that are used to make it last longer, those sugars and salt that they add to it are not good for our health. So make sure you buy seasonal food. Make sure you compare prices. Make sure you buy from local markets. That way, it will help you to get cheaper products that you can afford and at the same time eat healthy meat. And I also want to say that once you have your shopping list, you have your meal plan, you have bought you make sure you try as much as possible to stick to your budget. Before you go to the market to buy those things, have a budget. You could come up with monthly budget. It could be weekly. You could say, okay, 2 weeks, I want to buy stores and all of those things. Make sure you have a budget plan on, okay, this is how much I want to spend. So that when you go and you have your list with you, you don't overspend. And that way you buy exactly what you need. You don't buy the things that you don't need. So decide before you go to say, okay, this is my budget on food stuff. And you try as much as possible to work around it. That way it will help you to, have budget-friendly meals that are even healthy as well. So there's no way we'll talk about food, we'll talk about healthy eating without talking about hydration. While I'm adding it to it, you might feel that we're talking about food here. Why do we have to talk about hydration? Hydration is very, very important, especially for the elderly ones, because I've seen people come up with reasons why they don't want to take water. Water is actually important. People come up with reasons. They'll tell you, it doesn't let me sleep. Once I wake up to go and use the restroom, I actually don't get to sleep again. So they avoid taking water. But I want to tell you that water is very, very important. Aside helping us with our digestion, and all of those things, it is much more healthy. It is readily available. It is cheaper. I would say avoid sugary and alcoholic drinks. Please, permit me to say this. I know some people actually drink alcoholic drinks. I would say that it is not healthy. Your only option is to drink water, which is much more healthy. And if you feel you really want to go on to take other things aside water, you can do, we have around here, we have things that are local to us that are much more healthy. Your Zobo drink, which you can actually control the sugar in it. You can decide, I don't want to add sugar to my Zobo. Rather, I will add more fruits to it. You can have your tiger nut milk, you can have your kunu drinks. Those ones are much more healthy for you than those alcoholic drinks, those soda. When I say soda, I'm talking about, let me not mention brands. I said earlier, you all know what soda drink is. Carbonated drinks. Your I don't want to mention brands. Anyway, water. Drinking lots of water goes a long way. It is best, it is affordable, you can actually achieve it. It is readily available, it's cheaper. Then the people who ask how often should we drink water? I would say drink water as often as you can. 3 liters of water per day. When you wake up, you drink water, make sure you are drinking water on the go. You have your bottles with you, you are refilling. It's a strategy to keep fit. It's a strategy to stay healthy. Aside you eating well, this is another thing you need to do. Drink lots of water. On my slide, you can see water, but in it with fruit. It's just, for example, you have a glass of water and you have lemon in it. It's a form of detoxification. So that's one of those things that those fruits in your water will do. So try as much as possible to stay away from sugar, too much salt in your meals as well. So let's move on to what's a simple, I have here a simple meal plan. What the meal plan looks like. Here on the slide, I don't know, I hope we can see it. I hope it's being projected and we can see it clearly. Here on the meal plan that I have, for breakfast, we have something, I have ogi with milk and banana. You'll be wondering, why do you have banana? It's just a snack. It's just you having fruits. Healthy fruit. I talk
Please,
about
can we
healthy.
check the slides? Can the
Okay,
slides be
okay.
updated, please?
Okay. Please, can we move it to the sample plan, please? Okay, let me continue. So for lunch, you can have brown rice. When I say brown rice, I'm talking about what we have here that we can talk about as brown
Hello,
rice.
Mrs. Edu, can you hear me now? My connection went off.
Okay, I hope I'm back on now.
Mrs. Edu.
Ma? I hope I'm back on now.
You have
Hello,
always
can
been
you hear
on.
me?
You have been
Okay.
on. We just want those slides to be moved.
Okay.
Yeah, my connection went
All right,
off, so I don't know exactly where she is, please.
I'm on sample
Mrs.
meal,
Edu.
ma'am. Simple sample meal. I'm on the sample meal. Sample meal. Let's move forward to the sample meal. Okay, what I actually have on the sample meal plan is just what you can eat. Examples of what you
Hello,
can
Mrs.
eat
Edu,
to
if
have
you
normal.
can hear me,
healthy
please.
food.
I'm trying to
Can you hear
change
me?
my network.
Okay, ma'am. So let me just go on why this slide is coming on later so that we don't waste time. So for breakfast, you can have ogi and milk and maybe with moi moi, and then you have fruits, maybe banana, a piece of banana. And then in the afternoon, you can have brown rice, beans, and maybe vegetables, steamed vegetables. When I say brown rice, what comes to mind is your ofada. It is much more healthy, especially for adults. It is much more healthy for you to eat ofada rice because it contains much more nutrients and all of those things. So for your dinner, you can have maybe grilled fish, unripe plantain. Emphasis on unripe plantain. Because when
Okay,
you
Mrs. Edu, can you hear me now?
the ripe ones, I can hear you now. Hello, I can hear you. Hello, I can hear you, ma. Hello, everyone. I hope you cannot hear me. Mrs. Brodola is having issues hearing me, but I
Hello, please, can
want to
everyone
go on
hear
to
me?
our
Mrs.
Well,
question.
we are hearing you clearly, please.
Okay, okay, good. I
Uh-huh.
just changed the
So,
network.
I've been
So,
hearing you very clearly.
madam, please,
Although
okay.
the slides were not the
It will be
appropriate
coming on
slides were
soon.
not shown.
It will be
okay.
Thank
coming
you,
on
Now,
thank
Miss
you.
soon.
Edu,
I
please,
just want
which
to
slide are you on? So I
sample
can
affordable meal plan.
sample of, okay, all right.
Sample affordable meal plan. Yes.
Okay, okay.
So, okay. So it's on now. So I was talking
Yeah.
earlier about what a meal plan can look like. So here I have ogi with milk. You can eat it with maybe moi moi, and then on the side you have maybe a piece of banana. Just to have, I mentioned us having, make sure we, for every food that we eat, make sure you have all the nutrients from all the food nutrients in a bowl. You have a bowl with you. Make sure you are eating all the food nutrients at one sitting. Make sure you have a balanced diet. So you can have lunch, brown rice. I mentioned brown rice. What comes to mind is ofada rice. It is much more healthy. And you can have beans with it and maybe a little bit of vegetables, steamed vegetables. For dinner, you can have maybe grilled fish. When it comes to eating healthy, our cooking method matters as well. I'm going to try and just talk a little bit about it, because you might be wondering why am I having grilled fish, steamed green and all. Cooking method matters in the sense that we should try as much as possible to limit fried food. Embrace cooking method like boiling, roasting, grilling, steaming. That way, it is much more healthy because you are not adding more fat to your food. Because as we grow older, we don't need, I mentioned moderation earlier on, we don't need too much fat, we don't need too much oils, we don't need too much sugar, we don't need too much salt. So when you embrace cooking method like boiling, steaming, grilling, roasting, baking, that way to an extent, you have removed too much that way you're having healthy meals. You are not having additional fat, too much oils. Because I remember that when we tell people that reduce your fat intake, reduce your sugar intake, they'll be like, what's today? I like away. But really, when you think about all these things, they are not healthy. Too much fat, too much sugar in our diet, they are not too healthy for us. They are not healthy at all. So try as much as possible to limit it. So when you do grilling, you do boiling, you do roasting, you do baking, you are not introducing too much fat in your food, because some people will they want to fry their fish, they want to fry their chicken, they're adding more fat to it, and it's not healthy. Even at the table, some people will tell you after cooking, sorry for my language, I don't know. I know some people might not understand what I mean. Salt at the table, they still want to add salt to their already prepared food, even while at the table eating. So all of these things are not healthy. So another options you can have is your pap with granules and maybe boiled egg. In the afternoon, you might have maybe your rice, beans, and vegetables. At night, you can have maybe eba or your wheat swallow, your semo with vegetable soup and fish. So this is what a sample meal plan is all about. This is how it can be. This is how it should be if you are not too familiar with what a meal plan is. So this is an example of what the meal plan is. So, okay. So one of the things that we can do, I talked about boiling. I talked about cooking with little oil, cooking with little granite, little palm oil. I'm not saying they are not healthy. They are actually healthy, but too much of it is not good for our health. Moderation is the key word here. You have to be intentional about what you eat. You have to eat things in moderation, especially as we grow older. Because sometimes you have issues with digesting, issues with swallowing, issues with dental. So when we reduce those things to an extent, it just ensures that you eat healthy meals. So I've been able to run over my slides. I've been able to talk about what we need to do to ensure that we eat healthy. I talked about water, very, very important. I talked about fruits and vegetables, So in conclusion, I don't know, because I know my time is short. In conclusion,
No, ma, you can
I
go
would
on. You
say
can
that
go on if you
healthy,
have other things to add.
okay. to talk about. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just talk about the hydrating tips and exercise as well. When I talk about hydration tips, I mentioned drinking water, and I said water cannot be too much. You need to drink at least 3 liters of water per day. That means you can have like 6 to 8 glasses of water daily. You can drink in the morning as early as you wake up in the morning. You can drink water. Other things we need to do in terms of staying healthy, eating well, is to make sure that we are active. Being active simply means make sure you are doing something. You are not just sitting at a point for long hours. You are doing exercise, because when we talk about healthy eating, it involves eating well. It involves drinking lots of water. It also involves having lots of exercise as well. We encourage that for exercise, you do 150 hours of exercise per week. You can achieve that by doing at least 30 minutes per day. 30 minutes 5 times a week will give you your 150 hours. So if you cannot do 30 minutes at a stretch, because I want to understand that we are elderly people, so we might not be able to do 30 minutes at a stretch. So you can break it. You can do it 2 times. You can do 10 minutes 3 times. And for somebody who is just starting, 30 minutes might not be too visible for us. It might not be easy to achieve that. You can just do maybe 30 minutes after you had your supper at night. 30 minutes walk around. You could be in the compound where you stay, just move around, stretches, bricks walking. It even helps your food to digest well. It helps you to sleep well. And try as much as possible not to eat heavy meals at night. When I say heavy meals, I'm talking about EBA. But even if you have to now eat it, make sure you eat it early. It shouldn't be too late into the night. And make sure portioning is important. Portion control. Just a little feast. Your feast, the portioning shouldn't be more than your feast. Little EBA, but make sure the vegetables are more. That's how you have healthy meals. Little portion, more of vegetables. So that way, to ensure that you're getting the right nutrients and you're not eating too much carbs, you're not eating too much heavy food, so that you'll be able to sleep at night. Because we also need to make sure we get enough rest. We exercise, we rest properly. To achieve that, you need to eat well. Eat as early as you can. Latest 7:30, even if it has to be late, maybe 8, so that you can sleep well, you can rest well. So when we do all of those things, to ensure that we live healthy, we maintain our health and all of those things. So I think I'm done. I just want to say that the little tips that I've been able to give us, healthy meal is actually achievable on a budget. As far as you are eating local meals, locally available meals, as far as you are not buying expensive processed food, canned meals, canned fish, those ones are too expensive. As far as you're not eating those ones, you can achieve healthy eating on a budget. All you need to do is just plan your meals wisely and then shop smartly. I already gave us tips on how to shop smartly. So when we do all of these things, it will help us to an extent to make sure we are eating well. Eating well on a budget. Emphasis on a budget. So when you do these things, believe you me, it will go a long way to help us to maintain our health. So thank you very much for listening. So I think hello, Mrs. Drodala.
Yeah.
I hope you can
Thank
hear me,
you.
ma. Yes,
Thank
I
you,
am
ma.
done with. Yes. So
yes, thank you
over to
very,
you, ma.
very. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm sure we've all had a very interesting listening with our facilitator, Mrs. Edu. Once again, the topic is eating well on a budget, and she has given us some tips on what to do, the processes to go through, and things like that. Yeah, it's now 11:21. It's time for our questions and answer session. Please, if you have questions, kindly raise your hand or type your questions in the chat box. But just a very quick rundown on what she said, but I'm sure we all understand everything she talked about. She told us that we should plan, purchase, and prepare for a good, like, that we should plan, purchase, and prepare. We plan, it's even advisable to get a timetable so that you will have varieties of, a food timetable that is, so that you have varieties of meals that we cook in bulk, which we can store. And also reducing waste. If we cook, instead of cooking all the time, wasting our gas and things like that, you can just cook in bulk and store. And she advised that we should avoid canned processed foods, which are quite expensive and not healthy. And we should avoid sugary and alcoholic drinks. She also advised us on taking lots of water for easy digestion. It's given that we should take at least 3 liters of water per day, and we should try to avoid excessive frying of our foods. We should be active and have at least 30 minutes daily of exercise, eat early, and sleep early to have enough rest. Okay, in the chat box, someone wants to know if beans, is proteinous or if it's carbohydrate. Can you please answer the question, ma'am? Mrs. Edu, are you still on? Mrs. Edu, please kindly answer the question if you can hear me.
Eh?
That's cool. Wait.
That.
Oh.
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 You did for back.
I think we've lost her again. So please give me like 30 seconds to get in touch with her.
I'm not making noise, Abby. I'm not want noise.
I'm so sorry. I still haven't gotten in touch with her. Okay,
Please, I have a suggestion.
while we are trying to get in touch with her, would someone please, share 1 or 2 things from what we've learned today?
Exactly. Hello.
Dr. Benga Alao, good morning,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am. Thank you. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
I think we need to first and foremost the head of service and all the team involved in bringing all these very, very good and very important informations to us.
Yes, sir.
In fact, most of the food and the pattern I said is that they look just medicinal. And it is believed that if we elderly continue to follow the advice and the directives she has given us,
Yes.
definitely this will use a lot of health challenges in us. And then, in addition, she helped us in even in budgeting. That's, thank God, the budgeting is part of what she talked about.
Yes.
How to get this food around us and very cheaply. For example, going to market, buying maybe some quantity of soya beans, grind them into powdered form, and continue to be using. I think all those things will go a long way to help our budget, to make us live healthy, and we will be eating good and nutritious meals. So I want to thank you once again for giving us the opportunity of having this type of very important knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I still can't get through to her. I don't know what's happening at her end. I'm trying to call her, but it's not even connecting at all. Okay, someone said.
Then please, can we use all the questions and using it as discussion questions?
Yes,
so that all of us who are here will give you.
Yes, that's exactly what I want to do. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Someone said, I suggest that, okay. Sorry, that's same. Someone is saying, can we take chores we do at home as exercises? Dr. Ogbenga, please, I'd like to know if you're a medical doctor. Maybe you can please answer that question for us. But I think we can.
Sorry, I'm not a medical doctor.
Cleaning the house, washing our cars,
science.
tidying up the house.
But I can still.
Sir?
I can still try.
Okay. Yeah, someone is just asking if chores that we do at home can be considered as exercises. And I think yes, that we can take that as exercises. Tidying up your house, cleaning, washing, and things like that. Okay. She's back.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I have network issues.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
I'm back on. Sorry, I understand that people have been asking questions. I don't know if you can take this. I'm back on. Sorry.
Sorry, please. I'm going to meet you for
questions, ma.
Should I?
Okay, Mrs. Edu, you can unmute yourself, please.
Yes, I'm back on, ma. Sorry about
the
network issues. I'm back on, ma. So can we start taking questions, ma?
Yes, we can. So someone wants to know if beans is proteinous or if it's carbohydrates.
Beans is actually carbohydrates, but it has protein. It's just that when we say, let me not confuse us. It's just that it's one of the sources that we can get protein from. But it contains more of carbohydrates, but it's just a proteinous source as well. I don't know if that has answered the question.
Okay, I believe so.
It actually contains more carbohydrates, but it's just that when you talk about sources of food that you can get protein from, this readily comes cheaper and is always available. So it's actually a carbohydrate, but you can also get protein from it. The quantity of protein in it is not as much as the quantity of carbohydrates in it.
Okay, so in other words, it's more or less a carbohydrate.
It's a carbohydrate, but you can get protein from it as well.
Okay. All right. Yes. Another question. Is it true that groundnuts can increase bad cholesterol? Did you get that, ma?
Is it true that?
Groundnuts.
No, ma, I did not. Yes.
Okay. So if we take lots of groundnuts, it's okay.
Groundnuts is okay. You know, while we were having our discussion, I mentioned moderation. The thing with what we eat is that they are actually healthy. We all know that too much of everything is not good. So you in moderation, they're actually healthy, but moderation here is the key word. Groundnuts can actually increase cholesterol level. So moderation here is the key word. It shouldn't be too much. Maybe just a handful once in a while. Do you understand, ma?
Yes. I'm sure the person has heard you too.
Every food that we actually contain are healthy, but moderation is just the key word.
Moderation is the key word. Okay. Yeah. How healthy is oats swallow? I think that's Quaker oats. How healthy is it?
Oat swallow is actually healthy because it's a source of fiber for us. What fiber does is that it helps us in our digestion. It helps us in our bowel movements, issues with constipation, indigestion. That's when fiber comes to mind. So
how many eggs are
choice
advisable to eat? And is egg
per
yolk
week.
good for the elderly?
Per week, 2 to 3 eggs is fine for an elderly person. 2 to 3 eggs is fine. Yes, some people will tell you
how
because
many
of
eggs are advisable
level.
to eat?
2 to 3 per week.
Okay,
2
I
to
think
3
it's
per
just
week
high again.
is healthy, and the egg yolk as well is healthy. A lot of people want to run away from cholesterol and everything. The truth is that egg is actually healthy, and the cholesterol.
Okay, I'm not sure how many eggs are advisable to eat, but like she said, moderation is the key. So it's not like you at a sitting you take like 5 or 10 boiled eggs or fried eggs.
2 to
3 per week, ma. 2 to 3.
Hello, ma. Someone said something.
I said 2 to 3 per week.
She said fine. 2 to 3.
Okay, 2 to 3. Oh, I'm having issues with my network too, so the video keeps going off and on.
I already answered
okay,
that.
Another question.
And I talked about the. Okay.
Any other question, please? We don't have any more questions in the chat box. Or does anybody want to contribute anything before?
Please, a question, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that we realize that beans contain a lot of carbohydrates, is it advisable for diabetic patients to be consuming beans?
Is it advisable that what?
Yes. I'm not saying when I said it contains carbohydrates, I'm not saying that the carbohydrates in it.
Okay, is it advisable for a diabetic patient to eat beans?
A diabetic patient can actually eat beans. It's an healthy source of protein for a
Was that your question,
who
sir?
has diabetes. Yes.
Oh, no, it's okay. She has answered the question, ma'am.
Yes, it's actually a good source of protein for somebody who has diabetes. Why, oftentimes, even while growing up.
All right, another one. Mrs. Edu, if you can hear me.
All right, ma'am.
I don't know what's happening from my end. Can you please explain the benefits of jute leaves? That's ewedu.
Okay. Benefits of ewedu. Is that what you said, ma'am? Hello, I can't hear you, ma'am. Hello,
you said benefit of ewedu.
Okay, ma'am. Ewedu,
has she explained that? Because I can't hear her at all.
Oh, I can hear you, ma'am.
Hello, Mrs. Edu.
Boost immunity, boost our immunity, ma'am. That is what it does. Ewedu is a vegetable, and it boosts immunity.
Okay,
it helps us in digestion. It aids digestion.
Eggs. I think she has answered that already about eggs.
Yes, I did.
I think on this note,
I
but
mentioned
I don't
earlier
know,
that
Osazuwa, H-E. Is that a Mr. or a Mrs., please? Osazuwa, please, can you unmute yourself? Okay, you're unmuted already. Can you hear me, please? Uh-oh. Okay. Madam Kemisola Toluwanimi. Can you
Yes,
please,
please.
yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, excellent morning.
Yes, ma'am. Could you please kindly appreciate our facilitator for today, please?
Okay. Thank you so much. Wow.
you're welcome. Thank
Mrs.
you.
Shola, we want to
Thank you very
sorry,
much.
I don't know whether that's Dr. Shola or Mrs. Please, and pardon me, I didn't quite get the
Mrs.
Okay.
Olushola.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. I want to, on behalf of our team here, I want to express our gratitude, our appreciation, for a well-delivered session. This session
Thank you
is
so much.
insightful, detailed,
Thank you.
practical, and with practicable tips. Not just practical, we can practice, we can put these things in practice, and it was well delivered. A lot of thought has been put to this, so we want to appreciate you, and we want to pray that God will continue to bless you and guide you.
Amen.
In
Thank
Jesus'
you.
name. So on behalf of all retirees that are present on this platform, on behalf of Public Service Office, Post Service Departments, Lagos State Government, let me humbly say thank you and God bless you. And well, I don't know whether you want me to also thank participants.
We don't mind.
We always do that too, because if there is nobody present, there will be no session.
Exactly.
My co-participants,
Yes.
all of us that have been in public service at one time or the other, I want to express appreciation to you for being present, for making this a reality every time that we come into every 2 weeks. Well,
Yes,
I want to say thank you so much for showing up. We have something to look forward to. Post Service Department, Lagos State Government. We have something to look forward to every 2 weeks that will better our lives, that will improve our minds, that will also help us have a feel of community. So I want to say thank you for participants, Lagos State Government, Post Service Department, Mrs. Rodola, Olushola, Bukola. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Shola.
Thank you so very much,
God
ma'am.
bless
God
you.
bless you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you,
facilitator. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Most welcome. You're most welcome. We'll definitely call on you again on another interesting topic.
I'll be always available for you.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Blessed day, everyone. Blessed day.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Dear retirees, thank you once again for always turning up anytime we send invites. Thank you so very much. So in another 2 weeks, by God's grace, we'll have another interesting session. Yeah. So the slides will be sent to the group chat, to our retirees group, and every other group that we have for retirees. And also note that you can go to YouTube to listen to all the things that we did today, and past webinar sessions too. We have them all on YouTube. And you can also please tell other retirees and anybody that is interested in all the topics we've been having. You can please help us create awareness and spread the topics that we've been having. Thank you so very much. And as we usually do, we can all unmute ourselves. Okay, I've seen some people are already unmuted. And we say hello to one another as we usually do. Thank you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can we all please unmute ourselves?
Good morning, good morning. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, hello. Good morning, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
This
Thank you.
wonderful session.
Thank you, ma.
Good morning, good morning for organizing this.
Thank you, ma.
I'm
Thank you,
asking
ma.
this
Yeah, most welcome. Good
wonderful
morning.
session.
The mother of retirees.
Thank you.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, oh, good
Good
morning.
morning.
Well done. Good
Thank
morning,
you.
everyone. Good morning, our
Thank you very much.
facilitator. We appreciate
Good
you for
morning,
your
Our
work.
organizer.
Head
God
of
bless
service,
you.
we
Good
appreciate you.
morning.
Good
Very
morning,
much.
everyone.
Good
Long time no
morning.
see.
Thank
Appreciate
you
you
so
so
much.
much for your love for the
Thank
retirees.
you. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma.
We will
Thank you.
deliver your
Good
message to the
morning.
HOS and the permanent secretary.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, ma. We
God
appreciate the
bless you. Thank you.
HOS.
God bless.
Permanent secretary. We appreciate
Yes.
you, sir. Mrs. Rodola, we appreciate you, ma. Thank you, ma.
Yeah, most
Mommy,
welcome.
mama, boys and girls. Thank you, ma.
Yeah.
We are boys and girls and not retirees.
Yes, so you're not
Thank
retired.
you, ma.
You're not tired.
Retirees. We call ourselves retirees.
Yes.
We are
Thank you,
refired.
Not tired.
Yes. Yes.
It is wonderful.
God
Bye,
bless you.
everyone.
Thank you
God's
very
Bye,
blessing.
ma.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
See
you.
you in
Bye.
2 weeks' time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.
Thank
See
you.
you next time.
See you
2
2 weeks'
weeks
time.
time by God's grace.
Bye.
Bye.